Yeah, I'm going to talk about how targets are selected by terrorists, right? So this simply means that before a terrorist executes his plan, they also have an agenda. So I'm going to explain how they will plan themselves. How targets are selected will depends on the objective of the attacker. Attacker means that the terrorist, the person who is going to attack. Any terrorist will have an agenda. They are having their agenda, their reason why they are doing that one. So I'm going to highlight some of this one. Point number one, terrorists will either have a definite target in mind, like for example, Charlie Indo, right? Office in France, for example, will choosing their target to gain maximal publicity for their cause. Then point number two, they identifying why a particular location may come under their attack from terrorists will help to put protective measure in place to detect them. Then point number three, some terrorist organizations are extremely rich in money and also other resources, right? Other are not, right? So those that are generally do not attack to gain riches, those that have little in the way of resources may attack the bank or similar organization to gain more resources. So in this point number three, terrorists also, some are very rich, right? Then whilst others are very poor, so they attack like banks or other organizations to gain resources so they can execute their plan. Then point number four, like the ISIS, right, really attack the location for resources. The organization is also extremely rich and does not need resources. They attack to gain grounds or capture population or commit large scales of murder, like Somalia pirates. Somalia pirates, on the other hand, through to be the part of Al-Shabaab, capturing the ships or solely for ransom by the hope to get for the crews and the ships itself. So this basically means that like this Somalia pirates also, they are in the sea. They can also capture some of these ships that are moving that place. Then they hold the ships, then they ask for ransom. So also this is considered to call terrorists, right? Then we're talking about point number five. Animal rights activists will also attack a location or a person because they think the person has some connection to animal cruelty, right? It's rare for them to murder anyone, but they have been responsible for causing millions of pounds of damage to establish in various locations around the world, right? These animal rights activists choosing targets based on the ideology, which no other consideration. We're talking about other consideration for terrorists will include other consideration for terrorists will include how easy it is to access the target location, right? Then how many people are likely to be there? Then who are the people that they need? Then also how easy it's vehicle to access that location. Then how many terrorists will be needed to complete their objective, right? So these are what the terrorists they consider. One, they consider if that location is very easy. Then number two, they consider how many people are there in that place they want to execute their terrorist act. Then who are the people that are there? Also the terrorists will find out. Then also how easy is vehicle getting access to that place they want to commit their havoc or they want to execute their terrorist act. Then also they will look at how many terrorists will also needed for them to complete that mission. right, their agenda. Then also what resources will be needed. They also look at these things, what they have to be needed, right? Then in this terrorists, they have their target they are looking at also. Another point also says, in the same way as a criminal, terrorists will also carry out several visits to target this location before the attack take place. They always check this location before they can execute their plan. Then also talking about another point says, during the visits, right, vigilance, many members of the general public, members of staffs and security personnel are also, and other members of the staff can also spot the terrorists, right? They will be noticed details of the premise, watching people, their movements, and checking the accessibility of people in this place, or vehicles, or testing procedures, right? As soon, so on and so on. They will be watching movements of security, other place, people that are getting access, right? So the difference between criminals and most terrorists is the terrorist activity almost always lead to their death as well as their victim. So the terrorists, they will also lose their life, whilst the criminal will fight to protect their life. It is clear that the perpetrator do not include a way for them to escape after the attack, that is the terrorist. There is only concern is to inflict as much danger as possible to get casualty as they can. Then another point, in terms of what to look for when they are trying to identify terrorist activity, you should refer back to what to look for. Then the section in what to look for of this document, all of these ideas listed, they are equal valid when dealing with terrorists. We have to look at this one. Then there are many, however, 10 top security guides, right, which should be followed when considering the protections of terrorists. Yeah, so there are 10 points that I'm going to mention here for terrorists, right? So point number 1 is conducting a risk assessment. In every areas of building or community, they have to conduct a risk assessment. That is to decide on the threats the organization might facing and their livelihood. Identify the existence and potential vulnerability and the impact of any breach of security. So that simply means that in every organization or country, they should look at the conducting risk assessment. Is our country protected? Is our organization protected? What are the breach of contract, the breach of security perimeter, or the breach of borders? So they should look to all those things. Those are ways of protecting terrorist acts. Then point number 2, if acquiring and extending premises, consider security requirements right from the planning stage. So before you start planning of building or expanding your business or expanding your community, you should also try to put security measure in place. It will be cheaper and more effective than adding measure later. Then point number 3, in the protection from terrorists, point number 3 says, make security awareness as a part of the organization culture, right? Ensure that staffs are kept regularly informed and that security stands are fully supported at a senior level. So that simply means that to protect your organization, you have to bring so many awareness to your organizations or your country that they should be watch out for these things. So the awareness should be programmed and training should be conducted so people will understand the safeties and how to avoid terrorist acts. Right? Then point number 4, say ensure good basic housekeeping throughout the premises. right? That is keeping public area tidily and well neat and remove all unnecessary furniture and keep the garden area clean. So in this context, point number 4, you have to, in every community, you have to try to clean the community very nicely, so there should not be any more of bushes, let's say like the road passage, where vehicle are passing, so there should not be lots of bushes, right? So at least people will be transparent, so crime rates will also reduce. Then point number 5, also keep access points to a minimum and use staff or visitor with a visitor pass. Where possible, do not allow an authorized vehicle or close to the building. So in protecting a building, for example, you have to try to create a access pass. Any person that is coming should have an access pass, or there are certain places which are prohibited for customers or prohibited for visitor, right? So let's say like the parliament or some official places, people should not have access to every area. There should be a limitation. Then point number 6, you have to install appropriate physical measures. What are these appropriate physical measures to protect a terrorist act, right? These are short as lock, alarm, CCTV, surveillance, or carpentry lights, and geyser protection. So you have to make sure that you put CCTV in every organization, buildings or facility or community. They have a street cameras. So this one also can help to reduce the risk of terrorist acts. Then also point number 7, we have to maintain appropriate mail handling procedures, or considering establishing the mail room away from the main premises. So this simply means that whenever a mail is coming to a country or is coming to your house, you have to make sure that you try to find out which kind of mail is this. So you don't go immediately to open the mails, right? Maybe it can be explosive, because someone can mail from other countries, send some certain explosives or chemical. So you have to be careful of mail. So these are a way which the terrorists also can use to execute their plan. So these are also a point where you also can help someone to prevent the occurrence of these the terrorist acts. Then we're talking about when recruiting a staff or a contractor, you have to check their identity and follow up with their reference. So this simply means that in every organization or business place, whenever you want to employ someone, you have to check his background check, or police records and other things to know where he's coming from, right? Because terrorist acts can be in different form. Then point number 9, consider how best to protect information and to take a proper IT security precaution ensures that the appropriate provision for disposable confidential waste, right? Confidential information. So this point number 9 is trying to talk about you have to protect your intellectual property, your business. If you have your computers or any organization, you have your website, you have to find an IT specialist who can protect and secure this from hacker, because sometimes terrorists can also do cyber attack on some or hacking some certain website and ask you to pay money. So these are also some terrorist acts. Then point number 4, you have to plan and also rehearse the business continuity and incident response plan. Make sure that the key business function can also continue during destruction. So this simply means that your business continuity plan, it's called the BCM, Business Continuity Management and Incident Response Planning, should also be in place in case of any occurrence of in a country which is highly prone to explosive, or there is war going on, terrorist act is going on. So they should always prepare in case of any things that happen to our business. What are we going to do? How are we going to keep our business running, right? So I stop here. These are all for terrorism. So as I highlighted, these are wherein terrorists can execute their targets. So in this context, there are many. I have highlighted 10 security guidelines which should be followed when considering the protection from terrorists. So these are 10 security plans that I highlight that can help someone or a country or an organization from terrorist acts. That is number one, you have to conduct a risk assessment. Number two, you have to consider security requirements right from the day you plan your business or your organization. They have to make security awareness as part of an organization culture. Everybody should aware of security consciousness. Then you have to ensure good basic housekeeping throughout the premises, where your business or your offices is. You have to make sure that everywhere is clear and good, and security measures are there. They have to keep the access points to a minimum, and also issue staffs or visitor pass, that anybody that wants to come to your facility or your house should be checked. They should have authorization before enter. Then you have to install physical measures like your home, your gates, or you have to have a barrier how people can enter your house. So it should not be easy for people to enter your house like that. Then also you have to maintain appropriate mailing procedure, because terrorist acts can also execute by mailing also. Then also you're talking about reference of identity, that before you employ any staff you have to check his reference or identity, you understand. Then also you have to employ proper security, IT security, to monitor your computers or your website. Then also you have to plan the continuity, business continuity plan, in case of anything happen, how you can keep your business running, how you can keep your organization or your country running. So I stop here.